I am Domenic Roberto, and I am the president of my school's Feminism Club. Yes, the Feminism Club. I imagine that there's a mixture of opinion in the audience. Some guys might be thinking that I'm a genius. I surround myself with girls on a daily basis. Other guys, though, might be thinking that I'm definitely gay as a result of this. Some people might be thinking, there's no way I'm a feminist because I'm not an angry woman. And others might be thinking, I have no idea what I'm talking about. The fact is, I've received all of these complaints to me or about me ever since I joined my club, Herstory, 2 years ago. So, even on my first day, a guy gave me this smirk and nodded his head like he thought I had some crazy ulterior motives. And so, there we go. And if it's not proof enough that feminism is a powerful word, I'll direct you to a picture of a poster that my club hung up in the school. And simply because of the word feminism, we received a complaint that it was deemed offensive to him. It's a powerful word, and how I define it is being an advocate for the rights of all genders, politically, economically, socially, and culturally. So I want to share a bit today about my experience being in charge of Herstory, getting men involved in feminism, as well as the need for our feminism to be intersectional. So, why did I join? Being an odd, socially awkward sophomore really wasn't my place to be talking about social justice issues, but I was curious. I told myself, Dom, you can just hang out in the back of the classroom, you can avoid eye contact, all discussion, and just get out and leave. But I stayed. And every week, we delved more and more into what gender roles do and how the rigidity of them shape our society's expectations and our culture's roles for men and women. And personally for me, I never really fit into the male role. I was never that strong or coordinated or tough or any of that. I was emotional and sensitive. And this really shook my world, seeing it from a different lens. So, by the end of the year, I ended up putting my name on the ballot and became one of the co-presidents for the next year. And ever since then, this is my senior year, my last year leading this club, I've become a lot more confident and passionate in my feminism. So, I'm sharing this because even today, when I tell people that I'm a feminist, they give me this look like I just told them I committed a murder or something, when in reality, it's a lot simpler than that. I always have to explain to them this long rant, about like an hour-long answer I've given one time to people. And I actually sometimes lose perception of time when I explain it. But I really want to try and get men involved in talking about feminism in more ways than just, I'd never date a feminist, feminists are crazy, things to that nature. And so, first, in order to do that, I want to address my least favorite argument that men often bring up to me, and that is the simple etymology of feminism. And what I have to say is that if you think that the fem part of feminism is proof that women want to be superior, that there's no equality for men, or you want to say that feminists just want to take over just because of the fem part, you might need to reevaluate your priorities in this movement. My first instance of addressing feminism with men is that there was a play put on last year by my school that had to do with alcohol and consent. And there was a fake trial put on and everything. And essentially, there was a young woman who had drank in the play, and her boyfriend had taken advantage of her and had been arrested as a result. But at the end of the day, I remember going on a run with some friends and being the only guy there who was not outraged at it. All the guys there brought up the same argument of, she chose to drink that much, she deserved what she got, if you drive a car while drunk, it's your fault, things like that. And the fact of the matter is, it disgusted me that so many guys were so insensitive to these issues. And there are so many other examples of oppression that women have to deal with on a daily basis. There's hypersexualized ads, catcalling, being told how to feel, not being taken seriously in a leadership position, or being associated as an insult with weak, sexual assault, and the fact that there are majority groups of men that vote on policies affecting bodies they've never piloted before. And this image, I think, clearly defines kind of what men need to start realizing, is that it's a lot easier to go through life not having to conform to such strict, rigid standards. And men, also some contradictory statements that women hear on a daily basis as well, I forgot to mention. And man, it's not just that we need to be supporters and that there's no benefit for us either. On a constant basis, there's a hyper-masculine ideal man who bottles his tears, is expected to take charge, always be interested in sex, be manly, tough, stoic. And all of this ironically stems from a fear of the feminine, and is a reason why we need to join this. The patriarchy affects us as well. But in saying that, it should not be the only reason that feminism is valid. We shouldn't shy away from a conversation that women are having about an issue that doesn't affect a man at all. We should be there to listen, because comments telling women how they should feel when we've never experienced it before are completely baseless, and if we don't understand, we can only listen and support. We can't try and talk for someone. And so I call out to men to call each other out, especially yourselves. There are several daily things that I hear that are so simple to call out as an easy solution to some of the simple things. Next time you want to call a woman a slut, maybe think about why it's acceptable and often worshipped for men to be taking several partners, and yet the exact opposite is true for women. And the same applies for when you shame a girl for maybe not being interested in sex. And that also stems toward men and how they're shamed for not being interested in sex or even being virgins. This sort of body policing can easily be fought by simply calling each other out and yourselves, and recognizing too that it's not just calling each other out in a locker room sort of situation, but that we need to call out in the media too. Consistently in every music video advertisement, there's a woman used as an object, as a sex object. And a direct image of, no body hair except for the head, one certain type of body except you have to be skinny, but you also have to be curvy. Realizing that men, we don't go through this, and that we need to call each other out on making these things and become outraged when it's used in every advertisement that exists. So I talked a lot about sort of getting men involved in feminism, but my journey as a feminist goes a little farther than that. And it has to become intersectional, which has to do with a lot of different social justice issues. It goes more than just talking about female oppression. It goes into race, LGBTQ issues, sexuality, all of that. It's important that we do more than just acknowledge in feminism that women are oppressed, but acknowledge that there's so many different women that are oppressed in so many different ways as a result of their diversity. So that's why we need allies in every facet of social justice. When those of us who are privileged decide to raise an ear up and hand up to help each other, it becomes less of an issue of black versus white, male versus female, gay versus straight, transgendered versus cisgendered. It becomes us versus sexism, versus the patriarchy, versus transphobia, homophobia, and us against injustice in general. I'm going to share another story that affected my school last year and got me a lot more involved in trans issues. Last year, my school decided to change the gown colors from girls wear white and boys wear maroon to including that everyone wears one color, which was voted on to be maroon. This was a choice that was able to include people who maybe didn't conform to a simple gender binary. And that's actually an article right there at the bottom from the Globe a few days ago, actually it came out, having to do with our school inspiring others. But it was a lot more complicated than just a simple choice. The student body was completely split down the middle. Some people understanding completely that this is an issue that affects people in a way they'll never understand. But to many, they thought it was ridiculous. Comments were made in argument against this, that white looks better to decorate, or it looks better when it's white and maroon. People complaining about this are oversensitive, they're weak. And it's not that simple when you don't understand what it's like for someone to live in a world where they don't conform maybe to the gender binary that people put upon them. And this is something that really struck me because I hadn't thought much about the privilege I receive being male, identifying as male, being cisgendered. It really made me think about a whole bag of privileges that was invisible to me. And that's what I want to address, is that we need to look into the other cultures, not just looking into women, but looking into colored women, looking into trans women. Feminism is even sometimes criticized for not including trans women as much as it should. And so I ask you all to turn on the news. Amidst millions of sexually objectifying ads, there's topics being talked about everywhere in social justice. There's news about police brutality and ensuing uprisings, gay marriage being voted on, Bruce Jenner generating conversation about trans people. Some college girl experiences sexual assault or rape, and there are female candidates running for president. And so my challenge to everyone is three important things. Is that no matter who you are, you most likely do not fall into every single privileged group that there is. Or oppressed group that there is. There's some amount of privilege that you most likely have. And so, first, I ask to learn about other people, their cultures, expose yourself to it, and listen. When I joined Herstory a while back, I was told to shut up and listen so many times, simply because I didn't get it. And as a result of listening to everything, it became a lot more clear that there's a problem in that. I could have easily been a part of it, perpetuating it without realizing it. And next, talk to other people from these groups and find out their perspective on life. It's like finding out what a public restroom means to you compared to somebody who's transgendered, or find out what going to a police officer means to you compared to someone of African American descent. It means talking to a woman about what a late night walk means to her compared to you. And lastly, we need to talk to each other about these issues. If you're a man, talk to your friends about issues that affect women. If you're straight, talk to each other and learn more about gay culture and things that gay people have to go through. If we all do this, we demand more sensitivity, more empathy, and listen to each other, then we'll be able to create a more just, sensitive, and empathetic place for the future generations of our kids. It's nothing radical, it's nothing special, it's nothing new. It's just what I call simple human decency. Thank you.